Thank you. Ranking member of the full committee, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you, Ambassador Dybel, for really answering the question about national security. Thank God for George Bush, who understood the need and the fact that this was really in the best interest of the United States to be engaged in the PEPFAR program. And we have, and after him, countless others, Democrats and Republicans, have understood the need and the necessity for not, one can see, if you can't understand the humanity of all of this, then understand what it means in terms of our national security and the stability of these economies in order for us to be able to participate in a world economy, though that may be under threat as well these days. Let me just, PEPFAR works, yes? PEPFAR works, okay? 20 years, you had one incident, not pushing it under the rug, but you've talked about it, you explained it. The other issue is here, it's my understanding, that these nurses were not trained with the Helms Amendment, et cetera, and there was a revision of the plan in order to be able to do that, but now we've got nothing but chaos. So whether or not people are being trained or not trained, et cetera, it's up for grabs. I think I want to ask my question, but I also want to just say this. I believe we're looking at a pattern here because the domestic HIV programs are under attack. I spent a lot of years on the Appropriations Committee with the domestic HIV a program with the epidemic of trying to rid us of that, and very close to doing it, except the money has been snatched back. So this is part of a pattern, which I quite frankly don't understand how it comes out in terms of the mission of saving lives, yes, and of dealing with U.S. national security. As of September 2024, PEPFAR was supporting the antiretroviral therapy ART for more than 20 million people in 55 countries, that including 566 children living with HIV. As a result, the use of ART led to 95%, 89% of children being virally suppressed. As a result of the funding cuts, UNAID has warned that this will lead to more than 6 million excess deaths and an additional 2,000 new HIV infections each day, or 730,000 a year over the next 4 years. ART suppresses the viral load to a level that makes HIV undetectable, prevents transmission. What is happening and will happen to more than the 20 million if they have to stop using ART? What do you expect to happen to transmission rates?
I'll jump in here. Thank you, Ranking Member. I appreciate your comments, and I think it bears repeating that I think in some ways our progress has masked the root of the problem, which is that HIV is an uncurable, infectious, and fatal disease. And because we've done such a good job in trying to control it, we forget the devastation that it can bring. And I think both the subcommittee members as well as Ambassador Dybel have done a good job talking about that. And the disruptions we are seeing have the potential to see some resurgence. You mentioned all the people that are on treatment. Right now the ARV stocks are low. There was a really good market analysis done by CHI that really looked at the supplies that are coming in. And right now there may be no ARV stockouts, but our own organization has looked, and there's not a single country we work in that has more than 2 to 3 month supplies of pediatric ARVs right now. And children that experience treatment disruption die much faster than adults who have treatment disruption. So I do think we can expect to see increased mortality, increased infection rates, and a lot of despair if things aren't corrected.
And just a couple of other things here. So if the administration fails to continue investing in a comprehensive program, do we then figure that we have squandered the billions we have provided over the last 20 years? Have we thrown have we thrown that money away, given what you have just said about what happens for the future? Just an adjunct question to this, if I might. I find that PEPFAR works with other agencies. You were looking at USAID, CDC, and that in essence helps to make it work, right? So now, if you're focused on maybe not investing in PEPFAR, and then you are decimating or dismantling USAID, and you are decimating CDC at the moment, which we are watching in real time here, how does that all play into what your mission is? And again, the squandering of billions of dollars. As I say, if you can't get people on the humanity of it, think about the money that we have spent here. You know, I choose humanity, but also efficiency. But let's talk about efficiency and the use of dollars and what those dollars have created, and what happens when these agencies that you rely on crash and burn, and where do you go from there?
And I'm going to ask you to try to get, it's an important question, but try to get to it concisely.
That was a question, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sorry for the
it's an interesting compliment to what Ambassador Dybel was talking about planning and looking at capacities and how we transition work. You know, right now, we've talked a lot already in this hearing about the disruptions we've seen at the country level. We've talked a lot about where countries can lean in and do more, where private sector can do more. But we're not just disrupting the technical capacity that's in the field. We are disrupting the technical capacity at PEPFAR and the ability for these agencies and PEPFAR leadership to create a strategy, to make a plan. You know, again, I keep focusing on the area of my organization. You know, we've heard over and over again from the Trump administration officials that they want the focus of PEPFAR to be on eliminating mother-to-child transmission of HIV, but we're seeing the services in country being disrupted, and we're seeing the technical expertise that could help us create a strategy to do just that be diminished as well. So this is why I think it's going to be very important for this committee and its oversight function, but as well as conversations with the administration to look at this capacity. Where have we diminished our capacity so much that we really have to rethink? We need to lean back in, because right now it is hard to see a way forward. And I think that, as Ambassador Dybel mentioned, the confusion about where we're supposed to go, what are we supposed to do, how are we supposed to do this work if we don't have the structure at the top to help direct our work, we don't have the structure at the country level to do the work and do it in a way that we can transition and sustain it over a long period of time.
Thank you. And
Thank you very
thank the
much.
ranking member.
Thank you.